If you watch the show often, you know that the guests are sometimes people I've met through social media, people I follow and feel I can learn from. So it makes sense that I bring them to the show in hopes that you might learn from them as well. It's no different with today's guest, Angelica Ventrice. She is a health, body, and mind coach, and she's here to lend some insight about how we can tip the scales in our favor. Angelica, thank you for being here. I've been following you on Instagram and we chat, but this is the first time we've actually chatted face
I know.
to face.
I love it. Face to face. So much more personal this way.
It is. So listen, let's go back. I've been following your stories and just following your story in general. And I've read a lot about you. And looking at you, it would be hard to believe that you've ever had to lose weight or you've ever struggled with body image or any of the other things that go along with mindset or making a change in your life. So let's just start by making sure people can relate to the beautiful you inside and out and where you came from, how you got started in this.
Yes, I appreciate that. You never want to judge a book by its cover, right? Because you could land on my Instagram page or my Facebook or my YouTube and be like, oh, wow, well, what does she know? How can she relate to me? It just, she has it easy. She has the fit body and the great life and this and that. But the truth is, yeah, I didn't, I didn't wake up like this, right? So I basically was chubby from very little, like from the time I was probably like 5. I noticed, I remember going to the doctor with my mother and then making comments to her that I was overweight, and kind of started when I was younger. Then I could only have like one cookie. And I think parents don't realize what they're doing, but then they start to restrict you. So I developed a poor relationship with food at a very young age. And then I continued to gain weight, up high school, throughout college. And then in addition to gaining the weight, I also got acne very young, like in 6th grade, where people don't even know what a pimple is. People are like, oh, do you have chicken pox again? What's on your face? And I literally just started to get acne. So
And when you say acne, you mean, because you've talked about it in detail, you mean acne, not like the person who says, oh, I had horrible acne and they had maybe 3 pimples.
No, I mean acne, like I had to go on Accutane 2 times. So if you guys aren't aware of what Accutane is, it is like the strongest pharmaceutical drug on the market. So before going on Accutane, I tried every cream, every pill, everything out there, the Clearasil, the prescription, all the meds, which also then affected my gut health. So many avenues, right? So I was on medications from the time I was young for acne and for other things. But anyway, so yeah, I got made fun of a lot. I got bullied, called gonzo, fat. Well, I'm sure a lot of people relate to that. But yeah, I wouldn't say like junior high and high school were like pleasant times for me. And then, you go into college and people are more accepting, but I still had gained weight through college. And then at some point in my mid 20s, I just couldn't take it anymore. I just felt disgusting, looked in the mirror. I was doing pharmaceutical sales at the time. I had a closet full of like beautiful suits and all these nice clothes. And I just
You had a successful business at this time.
Yeah, I was doing
You were
pharmaceuticals.
as an employee, I should
As
say.
an employee, yeah. So I didn't have my own business or anything yet. I wasn't even into fitness or health. I mean, I grew up dancing, so I never ran a mile. I was like that girl in high school that like walked the mile. I'm like, oh God, we have to run. I hated playing sports. I was like watching sports, but hated playing sports. Yeah, I was never really quote unquote athletic. I mean, I danced and I cheered a bit, but yeah. So I one day it just kind of hit me. I don't want to live my life like this anymore. I was always tired, lethargic, and being in the pharmaceutical industry too, that led to me gaining more weight. And this is why I think I relate to a lot of real estate agents, because you're on the go. I was working out of my car, I was entertaining doctors, taking them out to dinners, doing all these things, and then the weight just piled on even more. So I had just had enough. I hired my first coach in my mid 20s. He helped me.
And that was before, I mean, it wasn't that long ago, but there wasn't a lot of what you can get now in terms of coaching then.
No, he was a coach and he did personal training, and then he also did nutrition coaching. But he did a lot of mindset with me. Because I was just so weak and so down on myself after all these years, my whole entire life of just feeling so gross and not fit. It was a journey. And it took me a year to lose the 35 pounds. And I'm not ashamed of that. I think, everyone here wants a quick fix. And people are like, oh, how long did it take you? And I'm like, years. This body, I've been working at it for years.
Right, darn it.
And now, yeah. So 12, I mean, let's see, I was like 26 and now I'm 39. So yeah, 13 years, right, of maintaining this 35 pounds of weight loss was something that happened to me during that journey with him, was I had this epiphany. I was like, I do not want to do medical sales anymore, pharmaceutical sales. I really want to help other women achieve this weight loss because I have polycystic ovarian syndrome. I have hypothyroid. I told myself all the stories that probably maybe some of your listeners are telling. I'm meant to be fat. I'm big bone. My parents are fat, so I'm be fat. Like I grew up with that in my head. I was like, I'll never be fit. I'll never have a six pack. I'll never have a nice body. And then I transformed and I was like, oh my gosh, if I could do it with all these things like working against me, I definitely want to help other women to do it. So I got my certifications in fitness, nutrition. And then I left my medical sales job, moved from New York to California, started doing personal training at one of the biggest gyms, Equinox Gym. I don't know if you're familiar. It's a big gym. Worked my way up there. And then, I kind of felt unfulfilled doing that because it was just personal training. I did do some nutrition coaching. It just wasn't fulfilling for me. I wanted to go deeper.
It wasn't the whole picture, the
It
mindset
wasn't
that
the
you've
whole
been taught.
picture.
Yeah.
Right. It wasn't the whole picture. So I left and I started my own thing. So I started going to, doing in-person nutrition consulting, one-on-one coaching, mindset coaching, and of course the fitness component as well, meal plans, all the things. And then in 2018, I don't know, I stumbled across some ad that said like, become an online coach. And I had heard the term online coach, but I was like, I have no idea what this is. What do you even do? I was so used to doing everything.
This is 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And what was it about the work you did with your coach, the one you hired in your 20s? What was it? Where do you think that switch really came for you? I mean, if he was teaching you mindset things, you already knew that you wanted the help, so you sought it out. So you were ready, you were prepared. But a lot of people don't follow through even once they hire a coach. So what was it that you were learning in that helped you not just turn the switch, but leave it on?
The sheer determination to just become a different person. I had lived in this identity of being overweight, being fat, being that, for so long that I knew I just wanted to make a change. And I think some people get to a point where there's no looking back. And that's what it was for me. I was just, and still to this day, I am 1,000,000,000% committed. And I'm that way, not just in my health, in my business, in anything I take on to my clients. I mean, you said that to me, you could feel it when you watch my trainings and things like that. I go all in. I don't believe in a backup plan, whether it's for your body, whether it's for your business. When I started my business, my mom was like, okay, well, what are you going to do if it doesn't work out? I'm like, what? And when I told my parents I was leaving a very cushy medical sales job to start my own business in California with no connections out there, I knew nobody at all. They were like, well, what are you going to do if it doesn't work out? I was like, it will work out. And I have the tattoo abundance on my collarbone here because I truly believe that. If you have that abundant mindset and you're passionate about what you're doing, you're going to be successful. It may take some time, but I was willing to take the pay cut. I was willing to take the leap and the jump and go into it. It was the same way with my body. I didn't know what I was going to look like. I didn't know that it was going to work with that coach, but I trusted him and I trusted his process. And some of the mindset stuff that he really helped me with was showing me how strong I really was, not just physically, but mentally. A lot of times when you begin a workout program or you begin just meal prepping or anything new, even new in your business too, you're like, I can't do this. I can't do this. You talk yourself out. It feels so hard. You have to remember that it's a mindset game, right? We like to talk ourselves out of a lot of things, but we truly are stronger than we think. So he just kept kind of ingraining that in me. And then slowly I got stronger and stronger physically, but we started with the mindset to connect to the body. Does that make sense?
It absolutely does. Let's take a break. When we come back, I want to talk about you going from being coached to becoming a coach and some of the hurdles you've helped people overcome with that mindset, because that's really where it starts, right? The mindset. Okay, we'll be back in just a moment. We're back talking with Angelica Ventrice. I know you as your Instagram, which is Coach Angelica. And we're getting to the coaching part of your story. So you were coached in your mid-20s, and then you achieved enormous results with the mindset and the tools that you learned along the way. And then you moved to California. You said you were willing to take the pay cut from your pharmaceutical sales job to training and however that coaching was going to look. It started out as a trainer in a gym. And I was saying, there's one thing to say, oh, I'm okay with the pay cut. I'm okay with the sacrifice. It's all going to be worth it, mom and dad. And then you're actually living in the pay cut and living in some of that, the changes that you're having to make personally just to allow room for this dream to come true.
Yes. Well, I am very smart with my finances. So while I was doing pharmaceutical sales, I was saving money. Not really for any particular reason because I was quite young, but when you I believe in manifestation. So I think I was preceding what was going to happen in my life. So I really had several months of income to live off of in case I did not find something right away or figure it out. So I did have that cushion, but I didn't want to rely on that cushion. I wanted to obviously be able to invest that in the future. So yes, I took a pay cut from making like almost 200,000 a year doing medical sales to $14 an hour at a gym in California, and I did work my way up there. But you can only, even if you're the top trainer in the gym, which I was one of them, and working crazy hours, you kind of cap out around like 70,000. And it just, like I said, it started to feel unfulfilling for me because personal training, even at one of the best gyms in the world, it really is just the fitness component. Although I did do nutrition with some of my clients, not all of them wanted it or needed it. And I just wanted to go deeper with people. Like something in me
Right.
just felt like I needed to coach deeper. So I left, then started doing my own consulting, and then started my online program, which is called Fit for Life in 2018, which online coaching really, I think, was in the newer phases then.
Right. And what
Um,
did that look like for you? Think, okay, I'm going to make this shift and I want to become a coach. And there was coaching going on, right? But we didn't see it everywhere like we do now. I'm
right.
going to get all kinds of things on my feed now about online coaching, whether I'm looking for one or I want to become one. That's just how it works because I've got my phone sitting here. So
Yep.
what was it? What did you want to, there wasn't so much out there that you're like, oh, I have to be different, but what did you know would be different about what you were going to do?
Yeah, I knew I wanted to help more women because I was living in California in Manhattan Beach, and I'm like, I can only help women in this area, and really specifically Hermosa Beach, Manhattan Beach. I wasn't driving around all day, so I felt very confined. And personally, I wanted to make more money, and I wanted more freedom. I wanted to be able to live wherever, travel wherever, and work from wherever I want. I live in Maui now. People are like, "Oh, lucky you." I'm like, "No, not lucky me. I work for this. I manifested this. I created this life. I intentionally moved my business online. Yes, so I could reach more women. Yes, so I can make more money. And yes, so I can live wherever I want to live. If I feel like living in Italy next year, I'll live in Italy next year. So it was many intentions in moving the business online. But of course, wanting to help more people, because when you do stuff in person, you trade time for money. I can only see so many people in a day. Like I could only handle really 7 a day, maybe 6, because driving from house to house. So it just wasn't for me anymore.
And
And it
what were
was
some of the challenges that you faced when you hired a coach? You were ready to go. You made the mindset change. You probably, you said it took a year, so you weren't perfect about it, but you were working at it every day and making those little changes along the way that become these important habits. So, what are some of the, just for people who are watching who have come up with some of the excuses you've heard, and give me a couple examples of how you have helped your clients overcome some of those hurdles, because
sure.
you've heard it all, I'm sure.
Ready for tough love, Ange? Uh,
Sure, but no
first,
cussing.
oh, I never curse. Me
I
personally,
know you love to cuss.
I will curse. I will curse.
Okay.
First things first. I think the most common excuses I hear, whether it comes to transforming your body or wanting to maybe start a business or get help with your business, I don't have money. And I could have said that too when I was 25 or 26, however old I was, because I had just started my career and I didn't have a high salary. I was making less than 40,000 a year at that time, but I figured it out. So where there's a will, there's a way. Excuses like time and money or resources, that's to me that really, where there's a will there's a way. There's so many options out there. People will work with you. So if you really want to do something, you figure it out. Like you
Mhm.
just figure it out. That's really what I believe. But we tell ourselves these stories because really what's underlying is fear of failure. You tried other fitness programs and you had great results, but then you gained the weight back, so you're afraid to embark on a new program. Or maybe you tried to a business coach before, but that coach didn't do you right, so then you're afraid to invest in another coach. And it's the comparing, it's a fear of failure. There's so many things that come up, but I think fear of also women not trusting themselves, like, can I really do this, because they feel like a failure. Which I always say, like, you're not a failure. Because other programs didn't work for you doesn't mean you're a failure. Just it wasn't suited for you. You probably weren't being helped enough. There's so many facets that go into transformation, whether that's for your business or your body. But I think really uncovering the underlying fear and belief systems and then breaking through those is so important.
And would you say that those same fears and underlying reasons for not seeking out help, whether it's in the form of a coach or whatever form of help we need to get where we want to be or need to be, did some of those fears obviously follow them into the program? So now they are doing the work with you, but what is then getting in the way sometimes? What are some of the things you see just with the clients that you work every day that you help them
Yeah.
overcome?
We work with all busy, high level women, and a lot of them are mothers as well. So I think what gets in the way is that perfectionism mindset. We're all like type A. We're both very high achieving type A women. So they kind of feel like if they're not getting it perfect, then they're failing. So that's a common theme in our program. We're saying, like, listen, it's progress over perfection, it's consistency over time, right? No one ever got fat off of one cookie or fit off of one salad. Just do your best. So it's constant working on that mindset. And also sometimes, yeah, the fear of failure will creep back in for them. Like, oh, my workout wasn't good enough, or I didn't get all the workouts I should have gotten, right? Things like that. So, I mean, it's so individualized. So it's sometimes hard for me to answer those questions because everyone kind of has a different thing come up. For a lot of them, it's also still um, morning routine, evening routine, learning how to create boundaries. Boundaries is a huge thing for the women in our program. Boundaries is one of the reasons why women gain weight, because they put everyone and everything first before themselves, right? Their career, their family, their partner, all the things. And then all of a sudden their health is like this missing link that's dragging them down. It's because they didn't create boundaries. They didn't say, hey, I need to take 15-minute lunch break. I need to take a 30-minute walk. You can instill these boundaries in your life, but
Mhm.
a lot of women choose not to. So it's the boundary thing also that comes up a lot. So we'll help, we're very honest with our clients. Like I just spoke with one the other day. She's a pharmacist. She's like, I can't take a lunch break. I'm like, says who? And just, you got to be real with them. Just got to be straight up. Like, yes, you can, and you need to voice it.
Yeah.
We have clients getting raises and promotions and leaving and starting new careers, things that they never would have done without finding their inner voice and strength. So that inner power is another thing that comes up in our program too, which is it's amazing.
This is all good stuff. Let's take a break and we're going to finish up when we come back. We'll be back in just a moment. We're back talking with Angelica Ventrice. Thank you so much for being here. We have been talking a lot about mindset and just your life as someone who hired a coach, then became a coach. And I wonder, for people who are watching now, who struggle with time management, habit building. In fact, when you and I were getting started, I had to pause because the mailman delivered my new habit journal that I ordered. So
That's a line timing, perfect timing.
exactly. So what are a couple of things? Let's just talk about how we start a day. You and I were messaging back and forth the other day, and full disclosure, you're not at this point my coach. I just have followed you, and I
Not
really have,
yet.
yeah, and I have a lot of respect for the way you go about things. And so we were chatting in Instagram messaging, and I was saying, gosh, I don't like to see 6 anything on my alarm clock. I really don't. It's one of the things I think is the benefit of being an empty nester, and I work from home. So I have that flexibility. I'm a night owl. I prefer to be creative in things at night. And you said, so you don't have to be up at any certain time. It's just important that you start your day with intention. So
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So I think because there's a lot of big name
get up
life.
at 5
Get
a.m.
up at 5 a.m. I mean, like, I love Tony Robbins and Dean Grazioso, both they'll say that, early, when you start early, this is what you achieve, this and that. It's like, okay, slow down. I don't particularly love waking up super early either, but being in Maui, I feel very behind the world sometimes, because a lot of my clients are East Coast. I'm from New York. I have like an East Coast vibe. So I do wake up at 6:30, but I don't love it. But that's pushing it for me. When we lived in California, I woke up at 7:30, and I didn't judge myself for it. I'm like, this is the time I like to wake up. This is when I wake up. But I have an intentional morning routine. So I wake up, obviously brush my teeth, drink a little room temperature water with lemon, and then I sit right down and go into my meditation. And I've been doing that now for 5 years straight. And if you met me years ago, you would never believe that I could meditate, because I couldn't even sit still in a yoga class. I'm a very antsy person. I move around a lot. I'm very fast paced, but meditation has really changed my life, not just for my mind, but for my body, for healing, from a gut health standpoint as well. And just, I used to be very reactive as an entrepreneur. There's a lot of things that are going on all the time. And if you don't meditate, you're find yourself very reactive. So it just has really helped me start my day. And it's changed my life. So meditation, sometimes I journal. I go in and out of journaling. And like I tell my clients, don't force yourself if you're feeling like you're forcing. But if you're new to meditation, I recommend meditation to all my clients. Start with 5 minutes. You don't need to become Buddha. Just start with 5 minutes. You can do breathing. You can find Insight Timer app, Headspace app. There's so many apps. YouTube has free meditation. So that's what I would recommend. If you're starting your morning, picking up your phone, scrolling, and texting, you are automatically taking in a ton of blue light, which just affects your entire body. It affects your mood too. You're taking in toxins from people, from just, it's not healthy. It's not healthy. So yeah.
So
Sorry.
I just bought a clock that is 5-sided, and at the top it has clock, and then it's something along with that 20 minutes of production
Yes.
and 10 minutes. So you just literally, it has 5, 15, 30, 45, 60, and you just tip the clock to whatever number that, like, I need 15 minutes of complete focus to get X done. And for me, it's usually like getting through my mail, or I have this room I'm going through. And when I set that clock to 30 minutes, it's easier because I'm less distracted by, oh, the pictures I would look through or the reading I would do that is completely getting in the way of me achieving anything in that room that I'm sorting through and getting rid of things. So I think these little tools we have these days are
So
really good for just time management in general. So I can't wake up to my cell phone alarm and be productive. I use that alarm now because if I
oh,
pick
okay.
up my phone, I'm toast.
Yeah, I use my phone. I'm not disciplined enough at this point, but in the beginning, I definitely, and still this. I wake up in the morning and I have texts from clients and I see the messages on Instagram, but I go like this and I go right to my YouTube app and I do my 20-minute YouTube meditation. So I just
That
know.
is discipline.
Yeah, it just takes some time. You just got to build up to it. So, but yeah, if you don't have that level of discipline, you feel like you can't do that. But I do sleep with my phone in another room. I used to snooze, but sleeping with it in another room forces me to get up out of the bed to shut it off. So if you're a snoozer, I say sleep with your phone in the kitchen or wherever, just not next to your bed, because then you're like just keep hitting snooze. So morning
We
routine.
have just a couple minutes left. So let's talk about end of day routine.
Yes, end of day. I will usually foam roll or read. Ooh, foam roll or read. Not watching TV right up until before bed. I mean, Mike and I do watch some Netflix shows. I'm not gonna say I'm not perfect. I watch TV, but we will at least half hour before bed shut it off. So we'll just talk, or we'll foam roll or stretch, or sometimes do an evening meditation. But yeah, you definitely don't want, once again, the blue light right before bed. It affects your circadian rhythm, which then increases inflammation in your body. So if you're looking to lose weight and feel better, you don't want to be taking that in right before bed.
I've read a lot about how it's about 15 minutes in the morning and 15 minutes in the evening. If you can be where the sun is, like real sun, not coming through a window and not coming through sunglasses, but not obviously staring directly into the sun, what a difference that can make just in terms of at the end of the day, your body knowing, okay, it's time to start getting tired. I'm someone who can look at my phone and it's 11 o'clock or 10 o'clock PM, say. And I'm like, oh, it's still early. When really that's when I need to start
Yeah,
probably winding down a bit, right?
I would say have a time where you put your phone face down and be done with it. So at 8 o'clock, phone goes down on the kitchen counter. I'm done.
Yeah.
There's no reason for me to look at it anymore. Like, and if I pick it up, Mike will be like, he'll say something to me, which is helpful. But maybe if
Accountability.
you live alone, put a little sticky note on it, a little reminder to yourself. Like, there's no reason to be on it after a certain point. So just face down, you're done.
Well, I'm going to have you come back and talk about business mindset and those transitions too. We talked about health, which is all connected, right? You have to have the mindset for whatever it is you want to achieve in your life.
Yeah.
But you're an absolute delight. And I have learned so much from you just by following you. So I just wanted to share you with our audience so they can get some insight from you as well. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. It was fun.
I'll have you back. Thanks so much.